Week. AFC South predictions, AFC South superlatives. Let's start with the predictions.
So if you are new here, we always start at 4 and go to 1. So we'll start in the basement. I think the Houston Texans are once again in the basement of this division. I do like the direction of the football team. I think DeMeco Ryans is a good football coach. Again, defensive. I'd prefer my young offensive coach, or my young coach, to be offensive. I think with like a Shane Steichen and Sean McVay's, Shanahan's, right? Like, you're seeing that's the direction of the league. Kellen Moore is fantastic on the offensive side, although he's a coordinator for right now. So I don't love that, but I do think he's going to be better for the culture. He's going to help rebuild that organization. Yeah. I do like C.J. Stroud. I don't think he's a superstar, but I think he'll be solid from day one. I don't think his ceiling's particularly high, but I don't think his floor is particularly low. I do worry about the lack of weapons he has to throw to. Yeah. And the running back room is okay, not special. Offensive line shaky. And defense, not a ton of talent. Hopefully they can be better under DeMeco Ryans. But as of right now, there's not a ton of bona fide, producers on the roster, so I have to pause for right now. I think 4-13. I would look for next year for them to double their win total. Maybe next year they're 7-10, 8-9, somewhere around there. But I think for right now, 4-13 feels about right.
Look, I don't trust C.J. Stroud. I'm not the biggest fan. I've heard too many comps to Justin Fields, coming out of the same organization in college.
I don't think he's athletic as Fields. I think he's better from the pocket, though.
I'm not saying he can't ever be anything, but I need to see it first. This is not the guy that I'm willing to blindly trust going into this season, and especially with, we know how Houston has been the last couple of years. I think it takes more than one season to turn that completely around.
I would agree.
So for now, we're going to keep them at 4 wins.
All right, let's go to the Indianapolis Colts in third place. We said 5-12. You could talk me into 6-11. It all really hinges upon how good is Anthony Richardson. So far in camp, we've seen a lot of very encouraging tape. He's certainly physical. He's going to be able to run the football very effectively. He's got a big arm, so he's going to make splash plays down the field. My worry is, can he make the layups? Can he hit the screen passes, swing passes, slants, outs, right? The things that are generally pretty routine for the elite quarterbacks, the Mahomes, the Burrows,
the mundane things that win you games.
The Herberts, right. Like Herbert has a big arm, can move, right? But he makes the easy throws that he should consistently. So it depends, can Anthony Richardson do that? We'll see. I think Shane Steichen's a fantastic young coach. If Jonathan Taylor comes back, they'll at least be serviceable in the run game, although I think it can improve because the offensive line's not very good. But I do like the Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman duo. I don't think either of them are a 1, but I think they're both very good 2s in the league. Defense is okay. Not particularly strong on the back end, but Shaq Leonard in the middle is going to be a very good piece. So at 5-12, you could talk me to 6-11. It all depends on how good is Anthony Richardson. Can he produce now? I think with his legs, he'll be able to. Can he throw from the pocket consistently? We'll see.
Yeah, and I think they have a good amount of young talent where in the next couple of seasons, they're not going to be as low. They're just in a little bit of a...
Yeah.
They're in a rebuild.
It's a rebuild. That's fine.
So it's going to take them a little bit of time, but with these young pieces, I think they could be good.
I really like Shane Steichen for Anthony Richardson. What he was able to do with Herbert and then Hurts, like you have a guy with just as much raw talent as both of those guys. I would argue more.
Now you just have to refine it. You just have to refine it.
Exactly. Tennessee Titans in third place. 8-9.
Second place?
Second place. 8-9, 9-8, maybe. We were going game by game here. We were anywhere between 7-10 and 9-8. The problem is I just can't see a good culture and a very good coach like Mike Vrabel going 7-10. I think 8-9 feels about right for me. I don't love the quarterback play. I do like the addition of D-Hop, and I like Treylon Burks at wide receiver as a good 2. Derrick Henry's good, but now you start asking yourself, you're trying to predict the year he falls off, right? It's always going to be like a hot take to be like, I think Derrick Henry's going to suck this year, but eventually it's going to happen, and the fall off for a big, strong athlete can be pretty quick. I'm not predicting it this year, but it's coming soon. Would it shock me if it was this year? No. I think the offensive line's not very good. And I think the defense plays good as a unit, but there are holes. The back end's a little bit weak. And in big spots, they tend to get exposed by better quarterbacks. Yeah. And so down the stretch, I think they will get exposed. 8-9, at best 9-8. I think they're clawing for the last wild card spot. I don't think they'll get it. Tennessee at 2.
And like you said, with a Mike Vrabel, they're not going to be horrible. He's going to save them and salvage them a win or two. But this is just the same tale. You have to see if that's going to work. I have nothing to base this off of. Nothing. Except how I feel about Will Levis.
I don't know if he'll even play.
And
we'll see.
I just don't know.
They might even cut Malik Willis. Their quarterback room's a mess.
Look, I don't like either of the two.
I would agree.
I don't like
think
either of
there's
the two.
the worry though, the concern is that in 2 years, if C.J. Stroud is at least decent and Anthony Richardson is the star we think he can be, they'll have the fourth best quarterback in the division easily. Even if it is Will Levis, even if it is a physical specimen, he'll still be the fourth best quarterback most likely.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's the concern there. At number one, not a lot of surprise here, the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of people have them as
They're so
potentially the number one seed in the AFC because the schedule isn't super daunting in terms of in division. They should be able to sweep the division. We have them sweeping the division, going 12-5. They do have a couple tough games outside of the division, but I think they'll be fine. Like there's a couple games where they have to go like to New Orleans on short rest, prime time. Like that's just not a game I'm not necessarily certain that they're ready to win yet.
Yeah, and to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, to Pittsburgh's a tough one, right? Like they get the Chiefs at home, that's still going to be tough.
Yeah.
So either way, like there's some games they're not quite built to win yet, but I do think they're going to be dynamic offensively. I love Trevor Lawrence. Calvin Ridley's really good. Travis Etienne's fantastic. Doug Peterson's a great coach, especially with young quarterbacks. So Jacksonville is easily the most talented team in the division. They're one of the more talented teams in the AFC. I think it's, again, another building year. I would look for next year to be that year where they really pop in terms of Super Bowl contending. But they'll go win a playoff game or two, and they'll probably be in the AFC Championship game this year.
I think so. They are ascending for sure, and somehow I feel like flying a little bit under the radar. I feel like a lot of the times when you hear in sports media, you hear Bills, you hear Chiefs, and Chargers. You don't really the Bengals. Yeah. You don't really hear much when it comes to the Jags, and it didn't really occur to me until I watched that quarterback documentary on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Yeah,
it's amazing. But they hung with the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Like that was a battle.
Like, watching that from the sideline and hearing everything that was going on, like, that was an all-out brawl between Mahomes and Lawrence.
That was a fantastic game.
I think they're a lot better than people think.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I think they will be in the AFC. I think they'll be at the Arrowhead Invitational, the AFC Championship game, and they'll give them a run for their money. That's what Nick Wright calls it, the Arrowhead Invitational.
I like it.
Which damn near has been.
Yeah. Run it back through.
Yeah, so starting at, well, actually we'll go from the top to bottom here. Jacksonville at 1, Tennessee at 8-9 in the number 2nd slot there. Indianapolis in 3rd with a 5-12 record, and Houston in the basement 4-13.
I like it. Good stuff. That's the AFC South.
Good, I love it.
It should be pretty good. Now it's time.